Joining us at this point in time from Beijing is Times of India's correspondent in Beijing, Saibal Das Gupta. Saibal, thanks for talking to us. First up, let's just talk about this incursion and this recent intrusion by China. Can India trust China anymore? That's the biggest question. Isn't there a major trust deficit now?
You see, since the day Xi Jinping became president of China, the signals coming out of the leadership is that they don't want trouble on the Indian border because they have their hands full on the Japan side and they have trouble in North Korea. So they obviously do not want to open many fronts. But many analysts believe that China is not one of those countries that believes in one front trouble. It is ready to look into 3 or 4 fronts at the same time. So the question is, how much can India trust the overtures and the signals sent out by the new government? Should India give more time for the new government to fully take charge of the situation and give the kind of assurances that India is looking at?
India should take charge of the situation, but how do you read this intrusion and what is the real reason? Is it posturing or is there more in terms of Chinese intent?
You're absolutely right. At least China has not complained of Indian incursions. At least that has not taken place. It has not taken place on the Arunachal side. It has not taken place on the Ladakh side. So there is no question India can be accused of fermenting trouble or disturbing tranquility on the border. It is India which has always been complaining of this happening. And there have been flag meetings to discuss this issue. And Indian government on some occasions have expressed alarm, on some occasions have said that it is part of the negotiation process and they can settle the whole issue. So how is it that they entered 10 kilometers inside? That is a big question, because if this were to happen in the case of Pakistan, would India keep quiet? So those are very serious issues that are taking place. One possible explanation is who defines the line of actual control. Have the two countries finally decided on what is the line in order to decide who has entered and who has not? So there is always a debate on what is the line of control. The fine line is not very clearly demarcated, and that could be a problem.
But that again brings me to the other question I asked you. What could be the real reason behind these incursions? Why is China continuing to tread onto our territory?
You see, are we to assume that China is a solid state and every decision that is taken at the central level is implemented verbatim, line by line, at the ground level in the border? Now, this is a major issue. It is wrong to believe that just because it's a single party system and just because the PLA is, looks very solid from outside, there are no deviations. It is very clear that China has some elements which are a little different from the Xi Jinping's generous and friendly attitude. They would like to assert themselves. They want a strong military. They want a strong central leadership, and they're also saying it publicly. So this could be, some of these issues could be, motivated by this kind of passion to force the central government to take a hard line on different neighbors. The same thing is happening on the border with Japan, with Taiwan, even South Korea. So there is this possibility that some amount of deviation is actually being tolerated and allowed by the central.
But Saibal, what is the step that India can take? What should be India's response to these incursions, especially after this one?
The point is, if India is persistently saying this, it is very clear that India has very clear evidence that some kind of infiltration has taken place, and it is ready to present those evidences. But the Chinese, once they make a statement, they don't publicly go back on it. They never roll an idea, they never chew their words. So they will stick to it in the public arena, and they're not likely to change it. But does India, is India able to negotiate with this situation and get some kind of a guarantee that this will not happen again? That is a major issue.